question this week. As we left last week's episode of AEW Dynamite TV, we saw Team Elite versus Team AEW. They're brawling, and we had this one moment, Ashley. You know what I'm talking about. It's the stare down between Swerve Strickland and Heyman Adam Page. And Okada grabs Heyman Adam Page and literally drags him away from Swerve Strickland before anything could happen. We don't get to see the guys touch. But I got a question for you. Does Heyman turn on the Elite here and say solo, or does he actually become even more of a heel and join the group?
I don't know. I could see something like a miscommunication, especially with Okada and Hangman, costing them the match, and maybe in kind of an indirect way that leads to like Hangman sort of turning on them. Just having this already high tension with Okada. I could see something like that happening. I don't know if in this character, I don't think he's going to join them right now.
You know, Stanley, what Heyman Adam Page's character reminds me of is AJ Styles when he was the lone wolf back in TNA when we had aces and eights running around. I get that vibe from how he is right now. And that AJ Styles was approached by aces and eights, hey, like, join us. But he was like, no, I'm good with my own thing. So you guys go do your thing. I'll do mine. So you feel that same way with Heyman?
Yeah, I mean, the Elite's like the hottest angle going on right now in AEW. So I think that you've got a good set of guys right now. I don't know if you want to add too many members in there, but it kind of has that like interesting factor with Adam Page where people may or may not know if he's going to side with the Team AEW or just go on his own. So it's just one of those like interesting like things to like, what could happen here?
Exactly. So we'll move on to my third standing question this week. And coming off of the brutal beatdown that Mariah May did on Toni Storm, my question for you guys is, do we go ahead and give her the AEW world title in London? Should Mariah May beat Toni Storm?
Oh, wow. So I don't know. I think that you might want to build it up just a little bit, so we give it a little bit of time. But I think Mariah at some point should get the title. I think she'd make a great champion. I think Toni Storm's done incredible work there as well. I love her character. So it should be pretty good. So I don't know. I mean, I could see them maybe doing it, but who knows?
Ashley, how do you feel about this? Do you want to see Mariah May have the title, or do you want to see Toni Storm get a pound of flesh, a little bit of revenge for that brutal beatdown a few weeks ago on AEW Dynamite?
I would love to see it, but Mariah is so good, and this angle has been just insane. It feels like it's Mariah's time with the way this has gone.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd love to see Toni get a revenge, though.
I could see that too. I could see Mariah hold the belt. That'd be a good place for her to win it too. Big event.
True, Stanley. And literally, like a couple weeks ago, before the heel turn, I was thinking like Toni Storm would be the one to turn on Mariah May, and May would have the victory in London. You would have that babyface reaction of her getting the title. Now I'm like conflicted here, and that's why I kind of phrased this question the way I did, because I feel like the way they laid that beating on Toni Storm, I mean, she's clearly the babyface in AEW's mind when they're telling the story. And to me, the babyface after that beatdown needs to defeat the heel.
Yeah, I mean, I saw her promo this week where she dressed up as Toni and just some of the best acting I've seen from her, perhaps ever. It was really good. She did a great job, and I'm looking forward to it. I think that she could be a champion soon. It'd be really good.
She looks just like Toni.
I was about ready to say that, Ashley. This was one of my favorite promo segments of the year, and is how Mariah May copied everything down to the detail of how Toni Storm delivers her promo and the way she comes to the ring. I mean, this lady is destined to be a star if AEW plays their cards
She's
right.
got so much range, so I definitely could see her being a top star in the company.
For sure.
So we'll move to my fourth stunning question this week. This seems weird timing for this Blood and Guts match. Usually the Blood and Guts match is a match that ends a hot feud. To me personally, Team Elite versus Team AEW, I feel like we're at chapter 2 of this story, Stanley. I don't think we're ready to hit the crescendo here with this Blood and Guts match, but we're here live in Nash Vegas with this match. How you feel?
Well, the Blood and Guts match should be like a Hell in a Cell or Steel Cage, where it's like the end of something. So I'm not 100% sure if it feels like to me they should build it up a little bit more before we get to it. Just because I think that, it's a big match, so you want to have something really huge go down in the end. So I mean, I mean it should be good though. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Okay, Ashley, do you think I'm correct in my assumption, or am I just crazy about this match?
No, I do think that this is a weird one, especially because like the Elite teaming together makes sense. Team AEW doesn't particularly make a lot of sense. For the stories that were going on separately, it makes sense. You have Hangman and Swerve, you have the Acclaimed and the Bucks. Like for certain things it makes sense, but when you think of AEW and somebody you would want on a Team AEW, like Darby Allin certainly comes to mind. He's certainly a guy I would want on Team AEW. But like the Acclaimed aren't exactly people that come to mind for that. Even Mark Briscoe, as much as we love him, like, hey, I wouldn't say no. But it just seems like there was a lot of calls for like John Moxley to be on this team or something like that, but I don't feel like storyline wise that makes any sense. I just don't think like the Bucks and the Acclaimed are like hot enough right now to be, like you said, like having like a blow off type match right now. It's been very strange, like this build.
I agree with you, Ashley. I feel like we're kind of skipping the middle chapters of this AEW versus Team Elite feud, and we're right now heading towards the finale of this book. And maybe they got something planned for Wednesday. They'll spin this around so they can keep the story going, and we'll be happy with it. I've got my fingers crossed. I mean, it should be a fine match, Stanley. You got 8 of the best talents in AEW inside this ring.
I mean, I'm not worried about the match quality. I think it's going to be really good. The fans will love it. I'll love it, and it'll be great.
Okay, so we're going on to my 5th stunning question this week. And actually, we kind of hinted at this through the couple of questions I did this week so far. Do you want to see Heyman Adam Page versus Okada, the Okada one, at AEW All In London?
Yes. I feel like we all sort of predicted that Hangman was going to win the Owen and go on to take Swerve at All In. But with Bryan Danielson taking that match, I would love to see this. It seems like another type of like elite infighting, but I've loved Okada's like character and stuff since he's come to AEW, so I'm very excited to see him antagonize this very serious and angry Hangman.
Hey, Stanley, how do you feel about the interaction between Okada and Heyman? They kind of seem not to be on the same page, but they have the same friends in the Young Bucks.
Well, I think that if they have like similar goals, I think they should be able to put their differences aside. So they should be they should be working together at some point down the road. So some point down the line. So I think that unless they're teasing a feud between the two, like in the weeks ahead, I wouldn't say yes. I wouldn't count on it yet. So we'll see what happens.
True. Now, if we can't get Swerve versus Heyman and Page for the title at All In London or All Out, I will happily take Okada versus Heyman Adam Page.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
And I'm pretty sure I can see Ashley's face going like, yes, Sean, I agree with you 100%.
Yes.
So getting back to Ashley's statement about the Acclaim, 6th and final stunning question this week. Should the Acclaim be part of Team AEW? Because one of these doesn't seem like the other guys, and I want to say it's the Acclaim.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like the backlash I've seen about the Acclaimed being in this match. There's some of it that makes sense, and there's some of it that doesn't. Like I said, storyline wise, it makes sense. They've been in this feud with the Bucks, so just putting them across from the Bucks, it makes sense. It doesn't feel big enough to be in a blood and guts type match, but I will say I did like the serious turn from Daddy Ass that we saw this past week, where he sort of yells at Max and Anthony to get in line. And I do think AEW talents sometimes have this period of time where like they have trouble getting over or like haven't gotten themselves over quite yet. We've seen the Acclaim be over before, but I feel like sometimes these types of matches can help reinvigorate them. We've seen it kind of happen with like some of the women in the women's like hardcore matches, things like that. I feel like this is a type of match they excel at in AEW. So I'm hoping that, like you said, maybe we get some storyline developments or something coming out of this that helps to kind of help heat this up, because this feud for the tag team titles has not felt important at all.
Very true. I feel like since the Young Bucks have got these titles back off of Darby and Sting, they kind of been in a holding pattern. They've been waiting for a babyface team to come up to their level. And Stanley, do you feel like the Acclaim have gotten back to what they were 1 year ago? That hot babyface tag team?
Well, you're seeing a lot of talents now make their way into AEW. So with a huge roster, you're going to see guys that are just going to get lost in the shuffle, unfortunately. So you got a lot of programming right now, so they can only feature so many people. So I don't know. I mean, I'm optimistic. I think they can do it. I think they can pull through. So we'll just have to see. I think they're really good talents. So hopefully we see a resurgence.
I do too, Stanley. I'm hoping that this kickstarts a more serious main event push for the Acclaim, where eventually they do get the titles back off of the Young Bucks, and we have another run with the Acclaim and Daddy as the tag team champions. Ashley, do you have any final thoughts on Team Acclaim? Should First Button gone out and went, hey, let me go find me some other guys that do this tag team with?
Yeah, like I said, I think for the storyline, it's I think AEW takes that criticism to heart sometimes about not having storylines or stories to follow, and I feel like this one is certainly in line with what they've been telling. And like I said, I'm hoping that this type of match can help like pull Max and Anthony out of this rut that they've been in for the past few months. And we know what the Young Bucks are capable of in a cage, so hopefully they can help kind of reheat them up and hopefully start something more important with these tag team titles. So.
True. I feel like we're going into the all-out, all-in season. I feel like this is going to be the kickstart to all the crazy stuff that will be happening in the next 3 weeks. This has been your 76 Questions here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling. We are heading around the home stretch here to preview other things coming up in this week of Professional Wrestling. This is On Tap.
What's on tap? The guys give you their picks on what you can't miss this week.
Okay, guys. Something else that's happened at AEW Dynamite this Wednesday night is going to be Britt Baker, Dr. DMD, having her very first match back from her injury versus Sheeta. Ashley, how excited are you for Sheeta versus Britt Baker?
I'm looking forward to this. I kind of like this sort of like heel edge that Sheeta had to her in the post-match promo on Saturday. With Britt Baker coming back, being the big baby face, coming back from her very serious medical condition and her injury, I'm pretty excited to see Britt Baker back in the ring.
I am too, and I'm looking forward to her eventual showdown with Mercedes Moné. I think that's a match that fans want to see, and I'm excited for it. That's going to be incredible. And yeah, I mean, she came back to a standing ovation, so I'm in. I'm excited.
You know, Stanley, when I saw this match preview on the card this weekend, I kicked myself in the butt not making that 3-hour drive west to see you and like, hey, let's go to Dynamite, because I could have been there to see Britt Baker's first return match from her injury, and I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
And I got a feeling that a certain CEO might just make an appearance to make sure she knows exactly what Britt Baker is doing and may cause Britt Baker her first
Yeah,
win.
she could come out there, have some shenanigans go on. I mean, it's the fun of wrestling. You never know what you can expect.
Right, especially
Exactly.
after Britt Baker has ruined all of her celebrations recently. I can
Yeah,
definitely see her
yep.
hosting her match.
Yep. Mhm.
Very fair point, Ashley. Now, another thing on this Dynamite card for you lovely people in Nashville, unfortunately, it's the learning tree, Chris Jericho, but hey, he's going against Murder Grandpa, the Murder Hawk, Minoru Suzuki.
Had to balance it out somehow, I guess.
I mean, listen, Chris Jericho is one of the greatest of all time. I mean, he's been able to reinvent himself over the years with the Y2J character, to wearing a suit, to doing the stuff with the list, with the inner circle, with the learning tree. I mean, he's done the Jericho Appreciation Society. He's done everything that he can to try out new things, and it's worked. So, I mean, this character, it's fun to see Jericho really take on a new role. So I like this. And plus, Minoru Suzuki, a legend in Japan, a worldwide legend in professional wrestling. So that I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be really good.
I'm as well, Stanley, because I feel like this is a first time ever meeting. This is a dream match for Chris Jericho because this is a guy in Minoru Suzuki that he literally wanted to wrestle, and we're going to get to be able to see it this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite.